Hello. I have a saying. I have a phone doesn't have me. I've always rather looked down my nose at people who walk around like this or spend their whole time talking on it. Get a life, I've felt like shouting. There's a world out there that needs caring for and healing. You aren't going to do it any good staring at a screen. As a consequence, I am a scammer's nightmare. My phone is never on. I consider it a mechanical convenience, not a third arm. Consequently, I found my 16 days in hospital a humbling experience. There I was, at first feeling dreadful as I recovered from surgery, in a strange city, COVID meaning I could have no visitors. For those 16 days, the phone was my lifeline. It kept me sane and in touch with my nearest and dearest. I would text Elizabeth at 1 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't the strength to take part in ordinary pastimes, and at first I could hardly talk to the staff or my fellow patients, or read anything. Two things made me think about this. Firstly, the Times last week was banging on about the perils of national obesity. We all know about this in Tamworth, since we used to wear the crown of being the fattest town in the whole of the UK. Though for some reason we've slipped out of fourth, I don't know why. The Times continued, hospital admissions linked to obesity in England topped 1 million for the first time last year, according to NHS figures. In 1993, it continues, 13% of men and 16% of women were obese. By 2019, the figures were 27% for men and 29% for women. Now, the perils of being overweight are well known. We know it can shorten our life or ruin our health. But people keep doing it, despite the knowledge of a massive propaganda machine has been telling us. So why do we do it? Well, some light may be shone on this by the second media message you'll have noticed. Prince Harry tells us that while he could get from Monday to Friday without drinking, on a Saturday he would binge drink. I'm sure he's accurate actually when he says he drank to numb the pain surrounding his mother's death, though being brought up in a marriage that was falling apart wouldn't help. The Bible isn't teetotal. Psalm 104 verse 15 says this, wine that gladdens the heart of man. While in the same edition of the Times, two scientists in line for a Nobel Prize said that their most brilliant ideas were hatched up over a pint in a pub. Conversations, discussions, brainstorms are a very important part of research, and the pub is an ideal place to do it, says Sir David Kleneman, who is famous. Even so, I know, and I expect you know, people who can't get through the day or who can't get through the week without a fortifying drink. Where am I? Well, there I am. This includes people who live decent lives, hold down a job, pay their mortgage, and so on. The Bible repeatedly warns us about alcohol dependence, perhaps because it's so common. Proverbs 29 verse 29 says this, who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaints? Who has needless bruises? Who has bloodshot eyes? Those who linger over wine, who go to sample bowls of mixed wine. And there's plenty more in scripture like that. Pain is common to man. We may not have tragically lost our mother in a car crash when we were aged 12, but nearly all of us have been through bereavement or some other trauma that's left a lasting mark on us. How can we cope with it without ruining our kidneys or becoming unhealthily overweight? There is an answer. In Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, beginning at verse 3, St. Paul talks about, quote, the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles. If anyone had led a traumatised life, it was St. Paul. He was unjustly imprisoned, beaten up, flogged to within an inch of his life, shipwrecked, etc., etc., etc. But he talks about the reality of the comfort that comes from having God's abiding presence in your life. This comfort is available to all of us who reach out for it. And frankly, it's a sight more effective than the therapy Prince Harry is going through. And we can have it without it damaging our mind or body in the process. Bye-bye.